Hi, everyone. I'm Susan Nash, and I'd like you to feel welcome to this brand new technology showcase episode of our AAPG Academy. Really excited about it. It kind of represents a trajectory from years ago when we started with UPitch, and it's graduated to New Technology Showcase. And I just want to mention that we support the development of new technologies, and we have a place at our Your Tech conference that will be taking place in June in Houston, and also at our joint SEG AAPG event in Image. And in each case, what we will have a really amazing opportunity for you to attend presentations that will take place over 2 different days in the afternoons. And we're bringing together investors and companies that have programs that support new technologies like NVIDIA. And we also will be talking about new technologies of all kinds. And the thing that's interesting about this is it's not just startups. It's also for companies that are branching out with new lines. A lot of people have branched out to energy transition types of products, or they're doing things with machine learning, AI, and it's really exciting. And to that end, really, that's one of the reasons why we were so excited that NVIDIA could present too, because many of the brand new products have to do with incorporating machine learning, AI, natural language learning, generative AI, etc. And as we get started, I wanted to just mention that this is supported in part by the Division of Environmental Geosciences. And I'd like to invite Bert Vogler to say a few words. He's our president.
Hi, thanks, Susan. Yeah, DEG is pleased to be able to be a part of bringing these very interesting broadcasts to you folks. If you're not already aware of the Division of Environmental Geosciences, we're one of a handful of different divisions within AAPG. Obviously, as our name implies, we're focused on the environmental geosciences. I've worked for about 3.5 decades as an environmental consultant. Originally came out of the oil patch and worked at that time for Shell Oil. So again, if you're not already a member of DEG, please look us up and consider joining. Thanks.
Thank you, Bert. That's wonderful. So as we get started, I just want to briefly present everyone. So our speakers include, we will start with underground vision technologies, and that is a unique new sealing technology for abandoned wells, including orphan wells. And I just want to mention that we had a wonderful presentation and wonderful event a few weeks ago in Pittsburgh on orphan wells. So Craig Brown will be showing a demonstration video and then talking about the invention. Then we have Brent Smith, who will be talking about how to use seawater for hydraulic fracturing in areas that have that are stressed with water. And then finally, I'm so thrilled that we will have Zach MacFarland from NVIDIA, who will be talking to us about the NVIDIA Inception program. And it's a perfect, wonderful program for startups. And so this is a wonderful opportunity for everyone. So anyway, I just want to say thank you to everyone. And I'm going to start by sharing my screen and kicking off a video that is underground vision technologies. So here we go.
Underground Vision Technologies, UVT, has developed a comprehensive 3-step process to inspect, seal, and verify the success of each orphaned and abandoned well remediation. In step 1, our dual-view high-definition borehole camera inspects the integrity of the casing while also documenting the depth and location of perforations. During this inspection and diagnostic process, UVT also assesses and documents any abnormalities within the casing. UVT uses its comprehensive diagnostics to determine the optimal placement for the hydraulic UVT compression seal within the casing. A seal casing, a wedge seal, a shear pin, a threaded seal rod. Upon placement, the UVT compression seal is set by lifting the lower wedge seal. As high pressure is applied, the proprietary components within the seal casing expand to essentially lodge itself to the well casing wall, filling all crevices in its bond. It's important to note that the UVT compression seal is engineered to redistribute force to the seal casing wall, thus strengthening the bond and seal itself. Prior to the UVT compression seal being in place, bubbles created by gas are visible in the well hole. Upon reinspection with the dual view HD borehole camera, the most obvious indicator of success with the UVT compression seal is the reduction and elimination of bubbles as the camera moves down the well casing. Underground Vision Technologies. We see what's not been seen.
Wow. Well, that is really interesting. And I noticed that we have a few people in the audience who can ask maybe a few more specific questions. But Craig, would you like to describe exactly what it is and where the cement is?
Yeah, UVT, Underground Vision Technology, is an environmental company. We got involved when we started seeing that the way that the conventional plugging's done today, we don't believe is good for the environment at all. Methane, we ran the test. We were involved with the University of Tulsa, and they ran all of the tests for us. So we compared our seal to conventional plugging. We were told when we originally started this, you could not make a seal that would do 100%. We have. It's the top rate seal in the, as far as we've been told by the University of Tulsa, top seal in the nation. This thing will totally eliminate methane. It's not the set, CO2 will not hurt it. H2S won't hurt it. So we can basically put this thing in anything that there is, and it will hold. We've had it under test at TU for over 2 years under pressure test. It's not leaked a nano bubble. This seal works. It's quicker, it's faster, it's cheaper. And we're working with the Oklahoma Corporation Commission. We feel like we're weeks away from having all this approved. But what we've convinced them to do is quit cutting off the pipe underground and trying to plug it with cement. Your pipe will be extended. It'll be left on top of the ground. And we're going to set the seals. We also developed a liner where if there's holes in the pipe, we can literally go in and put a brass liner over the holes. Because we feel like the way we're doing it right now, we're not getting rid of pollution. We're getting rid of oil wells. And I don't have a problem one way. We've got to eliminate polluting our water table. In Oklahoma, we have a serious problem. And that's why we developed this system. And all of our white papers were done by the University of Tulsa. They did all of our third-party testing. This is truly, even our corporation commission feel like this is something that's going to change the industry forever. Because now you can legitimately go in and plug a well off and not have methane escape from the well bore. And that's never been able to be done before. We tested a bridge plug against our seal. Our seal's held for 2 hours. Right now, the conventional way is they set a bridge plug, they put 10 foot of cement on top of the bridge plug, and that is the seal. When we did the test at TU, we set a bridge plug in a brand new piece of pipe. We gave it every chance. Within 48 hours, it was setting at 0. So if cement cracks, which we all know cement cracks, as soon as cement cracks, methane's coming out the well bore. And now if you come up the well bore and they've cut casing off underground, and that cement plug's cracked, and there's no bridge plug in the dirt to hold it, they just pop it down there. It's basically giving it a straight beeline to surface. And there's no way to get back in and fight this later. So the way they're going to do it now is they're going to leave the pipe in the ground where the surface pipe has been set. We're going to shoot holes, set a bridge plug 50 foot below the water table. They will break circulation and cement the whole pipe in along the annulus. There'll be surface pipe on the outside, cement, then your long string. Then we'll be able to monitor that well from the surface. And if it ever does leak, we can run a camera back in and see what our issues are. You know, we've created this problem. I've been in the drilling business for 50 years. Between me and my father, my grandfather, and my brothers, we've been in the drilling business for 4 generations now. We did not know we were creating this bigger problem. And I tell the kids at the University of Tulsa, it's up to us to figure an answer. Right now, the best answer, we believe as a company, is UVT. There's nothing in the world like this to compare anywhere.
Well, is this a lot more expensive than the other solutions?
It's actually cheaper. It's we've worked with the Corporation Commission. We can actually, the neat thing about it is when you do this, you can actually set a budget. How much it's going to cost to do it. In the conventional way right now, they don't know. They go in and they'll bid them and they can't get close. But actually, we come in at about comparable to the same price, but a little bit cheaper, but never higher. So right now, the Oklahoma corporations agreed to the fact that we don't have to put cement in. We don't have it in writing yet. We figure to have this next week, but there will be, they've agreed to set we have built one that's like, it's like a Teflon, but we can't call it Teflon. It's a PPFE material. So we built one out of brass and aluminum bronze, and we set the other ones made out of Teflon. So we can literally set 2 different type barriers in the wellbore. So the Corporation Commission's agreed that they don't have to set cement on the bottom anymore, or they could set one of our seals and put cement on it, and then from there on up, not have to put any cement. So Corporation Commission's working with us on this in Oklahoma. They understand the issue. Methane escaping from wells is a bad deal, and there's truly only one way right now to stop it. And we'll be going to Texas next because they have problems with hot wells. We're a unique company that whenever you have a problem well, they bring it to us and we can develop whatever product it takes to shut the methane off.
Custom made.
That we can custom make seals for different types of problems. So
Okay.
I wish we would add this seal whenever they had the blowout in the Gulf, because literally, if we could have got it in the hole, it would shut it off. I mean, this thing will 100% shut off anything that's going on. We could kill blowouts with it. It has clearance along the sides. The camera is another issue that some want to run it, some don't. The state of Oklahoma doesn't require it. They're just going to run in and set their seals and call it plugged. In the Osage Nation, which we actually designed it for, they want to run a camera in every well to inspect their well bores.
And you get a thumb drive of it.
And when we do it, we record a thumb drive off of our camera. We hand it to the tribe, the oil council, and they have a record of their well bore.
So we'll have time. We have time for one quick question, and Les Skinner is here. He's a well-known expert, it's widely published. Anyway, he asks, if the leak is on the outside of the pipe, do you do squeezing first, then set an internal plug?
What we've found with our technology, by running the camera, they think they have a hole on the outside of the pipe. 90% of the time, there's leaking up the middle, up the casing, and then there's a hole in the pipe up shallow. And what it's doing is traveling up your casing and then back out and then up the annulus.
Interesting.
It's never come. In our dealings, we have not found one yet that was coming up the backside that didn't have a hole in the pipe and didn't have a leaking plug.
That's interesting. Well, this is great. I really appreciate it. And we'll move on to the next presenter, and we'll save some time at the end for some general questions. But really want to thank you, Craig. This is great. And I mean, I'm excited. Anyway.
Well, we like to thank you too, because we're looking for, we're passionate about eliminating methane in any format we can go to speak about this. Or if anybody's got new technology, we would like to know, because that's our goal, is to eliminate methane from coming out of the ground from oil wells.
Okay, good. And also, I think that there's a disclaimer in the chat about the Corporation Commission. So it's all still under development. Nothing's been approved.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Nothing's been approved. We're talking to them now.
so just conversations. That's it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Great. Well, thank you very much, and really appreciate this. Incredible. And I'd like to invite Brent Smith to come on board and share his screen and make his presentation.
Okay, here we go. Sorry. I'm getting there. Not yet.
Just share a different screen.
There
Yeah,
we
here we go. Yeah. So then just hit the.
Yeah, I still got that bar.
Yeah.
Comes in right where I'm trying to pick slideshow, but it will go away.
So yeah, just go into presenter view and you'll be good. Play from current slide. Just click on that one.
I still can't get full screen though. Hold on.
Right. So you need to click on play from current slide.
Play from current slide.
Yeah, go to your left. All the way to your left.
You bet.
And then go down. You'll see play from current slide. You almost got there. Up a little bit.
Okay, I got a better way. I just
There we
moved.
go. There, that's it. Click.
Okay.
There we
Very
go.
good.
Great.
Okay, sorry about that start, but thank you all for tuning in. My name is Brent Smith. I'm the founder of Seawater Technologies, and what we're going to talk about today is fracturing with seawater onshore, which is, in our opinion, a green, natural, free, sustainable, and unlimited alternative to fresh water for fracturing in water-stressed countries. We do call Earth the blue planet. It is 71% in, how do I get rid of this on the side, Susan? Do you hear me? Uh-oh.
I hear you. You're fine. Everything's
Okay.
good.
I want to get rid of these screens on the side. It's blocking my view of my own stuff.
I think that just live with it.
Really?
Yeah, because I think that you can click on the wrong ones and it'll mess you up. If you
Okay.
have two screens, you can move it over or you can minimize, but
That's okay. I'll get through it.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. So on Earth, Earth is 71% water, and of that water, 97.5% is seawater and 2.5% is fresh water. However, 80% of the fresh water on Earth is trapped in the polar ice caps in Antarctica and in the Arctic. So what we end up with is less than 1% of the water on Earth is actually fresh water that we can actually use. So the next problem entered in is we are now 8 billion people on Earth. And since 1940, we've had a 5-fold increase in global water consumption. That is a challenge in itself. So that ends my freshwater introduction. About myself, just a very brief bio. I'm 40 plus years in the industry as an engineer on several continents, a lot of fracturing, a lot of well stimulation. So moving on, the outline I'm skipping through, we're going to be talking about the water stress in the world, lots of water for fracturing now with unconventionals, and what our sustainable solution is at this point. So when we look, this is a snapshot 10 years ago. When we look at the water stress in the world, even back 10 years ago, the United States even was medium to high stress, as was China. When we flip forward to 2040, what we see is even more water stress coming to the United States, coming to China. Across North Africa is very high water stress, and all through the Middle East up into Mongolia. The challenge is that's where a lot of the stressed areas of the world, including Mexico and Australia, is actually where the future unconventionals will be drilled and fracked. So we'll look at that situation. Taking a quick close focus at Texas itself, last summer, as many of you know, we reached some very extreme drought conditions right in the center of the state. And actually the picture looks a lot worse than what you see here. It got magnified towards the end of August. Now, the interesting part of that is when you overlay the Eagleford Shale, you see where the Eagleford Shale, and it's almost roughly 20,000 wells, is located. The good part of that story is the Eagleford is only 80 miles from the coast with an unlimited amount of seawater for fracturing. A quick snapshot of the industry today. Current rigs in the United States is about 650, down from 780 from December of 2020. The interesting part of looking at the global rig count, which is 958, is international. 650 rigs in the States, is that up until just recent history, really, the last few years, there was always more rigs in the States than there was in international. This is showing really a trend that's going to last, where the number of rigs international has surpassed the activity in the United States. Just a quick look at the frac crews. There's about 270 frac crews in the US. Not a real good count on international. It's about 45. The net worth of fracturing globally at the moment is about $45 billion and expected to grow to $75 billion by 2028. So a recent report by the World Resources Institute sees every continent other than Antarctica as being water stressed to the point where it would delay unconventional development. So the challenge to the industry is clearly the unconventional wells, drilling, fracturing, and completions water. Our solution to the high water demand is drill and frack wells with seawater on land, just like we do offshore. And our goal is, of course, to reduce fracturing's water demand with the unlimited, fully sustainable supply of seawater from the oceans and the seas onshore. That's simple, right? It is, actually. And Corporate Vision thought it was a pretty good idea back in 2020, which was actually right in the middle of COVID, and gave us the best onshore hydraulic fracturing solutions provider for the year 2020. Now, the chemistry to use raw seawater as a base fluid for fracturing is pretty much done, because we've been running around with frac boats in the seas and the oceans since the 1990s. Actually, they were out there even in the 70s, but this version of the ships that you see here came out basically in the early 90s. Aramco, the largest oil and gas company in the world, recently reconfirmed this in their own Society of Petroleum Engineering papers, that you can frack wells with raw seawater. And it's a good thing, because they've discovered the Jafurah Basin, which is right next to the Guar field that many of you are familiar with. And Jafurah is actually going to be larger than the Eagleford. So it will take 15,000 to 20,000 wells to develop that field. A lot of fracturing and a lot of horizontal drilling. So what do we need in the fracturing completions base fluid? Very simply, the most important aspects are it needs to be affordable and available. And then secondarily, it needs to be compatible with the formation and the reservoir fluids, which it doesn't have any problem doing that. The current options worldwide is freshwater, brackish water, produced water, and seawater. And the limitations, the very first thing that comes up is the volumes. Current frac crews that are performing like in the Eagle Ford and in the Permian, and soon to be performing across the Middle East, they can run through 65 frac tanks of water a day. And they do, including Argentina today. It's a lot of water to keep up with. So a quick summary to here, what we've established is completing unconventionals is a water-intensive activity. And the freshwater consumption globally is now driven by 8 billion people. Sorry about that. Many unconventional plays are in very dry countries. Brackish water, a lot of people understand this because we're very blessed with it in the United States. But it has roughly the same reserves as freshwater, and seawater by far is more plentiful in all of the marine environments, the oceans and the seas. And we're pushing to conserve the fresh and the brackish that we have. So the logical base fluid for fracturing, we end up with really produced water and seawater. But we need affordable and available. And that's where seawater can win as long as you're within 50, 100 miles of the ocean or the seas. Because the cost to clean the waste and the waste stream and the carbon footprint for reuse of produced water just doesn't compete with seawater. And that's why we decided to promote it to the tune of 700,000 barrels a well. I put this chemistry on seawater in here just so we can refer to it later if we need to. It's there for your own study. There is a hidden bonus with regard to chemistry when seawater is used as a base fluid for fracturing shales. The salinity is ideal for keeping the natural fractures in the shales open, making it easier to frac, and with improved productivity. So the how-to of using it is pretty simple. It's not that different than any other frac fluid that we use, except that we do support the use of chlorine dioxide and ozone at the source in the ocean, and to give us a biological kill, 100% biological kill, and it also eliminates barnacles and mollusks, which can really give you problems down the line. So you need where you're taking the seawater out of the ocean or the sea, you need to have a good kill on it at the very beginning. Then, of course, it does have salts, so you'll need a scale inhibitor. And as you would with any frac fluid, you continue using a biocide preservative. The ASTs, of course, it's more of a logistics problem here than it is chemistry, but the AST needs to be fairly close to the wellhead. It's nice to have them within a mile or two if you can. As you know, in the Permian, we move water around 10 miles at a time, and it's with lay flat hose. It's not a big deal, but the closer you have it to the wellhead, the better off you are. So what differentiates Seawater Technologies? It's patents. We have patents covering the use of seawater at inland oil fields, road and rail transport, pipeline transport. We tried to cover it all. We currently have 23 granted patents in 19 countries, only waiting on India is a little bit slow, and COVID really slowed them down on processing patents. But we hope to get that one soon. We're licensing and selling the technology. We're looking for investors. Where we are in talking with some of the companies, nobody has licensed it yet. We had some good opportunities in the Middle East, and different oil companies moved around. To make a long story short, ADNOC, Aramco, PetroChina, Pemex are all interested in looking at it. And in my opinion, it's a good time to get in on the ground floor. Change is never easy, especially when it's not your idea or desire to change, such as regulations, new environmental laws, climate change, even innovation. Fracturing with seawater onshore is actually an enabling technology. It doesn't have a direct competitor. Using seawater for fracturing unconventionals is the right thing to do, and possibly the only long-term solution for industrialized fracturing in water-stressed regions of the world. There's a couple of slides with conclusions in here. I'm going to skip through them. It's more of a summary than a conclusion, so I'm going to leave those in there. You're free to look at them later. And with that, we'll take any questions.
Great. Well, I really appreciate that. Let's see, let's look at the time. Why don't we go ahead and we'll take maybe one question, and then we'll go on to Zach with NVIDIA. So a question from John Dahl. Does the frac forecast out to 2028 expect to replicate the US frac utilization capacity, or is it not contingent on ROW needing the on-the-ground infrastructure to execute like the US shale efforts?
I think I understand the question. But, what is happening is outside the United States is projecting somewhere of an increase in overall activity. Not a strong increase, but where a lot more of the increase is coming from is from international locations. I hope that answers the question. If not, I'll try it again in a different form.
Well, I think maybe another way to look at it is, are they going to use exactly the same approaches that they use, say, in the Eagle Ford? In other words, are the assumptions of usage the same, or will it be more or less?
The usage amounts are starting to flatten off. The rapid growth in volumes of water came really since about 2017, 2018. And we're probably at a 90-95% number in the Eagle Ford and in the Permian. And they really are the trendsetters along with the Bakken. But so the usage numbers are probably going to stay fairly flat and just be extended to different regions.
Okay, but I guess the thing is, will they use the same technology? And that ties to in Saudi, will they use the same process? And so Chris Wiggins asked, is there any permitting that needs to take place to retrieve water from the oceans, the sea? And then how would you retrieve the seawater? Boat, large pump, etc. How are you going to transport it?
The answer is yes. Even as an example, in Texas, you have to apply for a permit through the TCEQ in order to make a seawater withdrawal. And there are several power plants and steel mills that do that today, and it's free, but you do have to apply for the permit. And that would hold true in many other countries as well. How you extract it directly is with a header, a pipe into the sea. Of course, you can't. It's got to be where objects can't get into the header. But there are ways. You can Google it. There's all different types of headers that have been placed in the oceans and in the seas for withdrawals.
Yeah,
As as far as transporting it, obviously by pipeline.
got it.
It's
Okay. Well,
the volumes in frac today are way too big to even consider trucking and other methods. It's primarily pipeline.
okay. And then, a lot of those, many countries in the Middle East and in Asia rely on reverse osmosis and purified seawater for their gray water and also even potable. So I'm sure that some of the infrastructure could be expanded.
That's absolutely correct. The the Persian Gulf or the Arabian Gulf performs probably upwards of 85% of all the desalination and reverse osmosis in the world. So there's a lot of examples of different styles of extraction.
Excellent. Well, that's really interesting and really appreciate it, Brent.
Thank you.
So we'll move over to having our next presenter, which is Zach MacFarland. He will be presenting on NVIDIA. So I think you have to stop sharing your screen, Brent. There we go.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Susan. Let me go ahead and share my screen here.
You're welcome. And I'm just so excited that you're here, and thank you for taking a break from CERA Week, where you're part of that amazing event.
Absolutely. No, great to be here. Is my screen coming through all right?
Yes.
Wonderful. Let me go ahead and present this. Easy peasy. All right. Well, thank you everybody so much for joining. I'm Zach MacFarland over at NVIDIA, and I support the Inception program. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of the program, but first maybe I'll just talk a little bit about NVIDIA, what we're doing in AI and in the ecosystem. So this is kind of broadly what we're doing across the energy space, right? So we have domain expertise across all of the major upstream folks, working with geophysicists and geoscientists, data scientists, folks from all the services companies, the Schlumbergers of the world, and then also smaller ISVs and startups. And so we focus on technology enablement, all the way across upstream, midstream, downstream, through power generation, through transmission, and we're working with AI startups across every single aspect of the energy chain. And the way we do it is through our platform, both hardware and software, and we kind of have a broad ecosystem of partners between clouds and OEMs and folks that we can help you get access to NVIDIA technology. So the program itself, we've over 15,000 startups globally, with over 100 countries, and we've been growing like crazy. So basically, the way that the program works is kind of have the innovate, build, and grow breakdown. So when we think of innovate, we think of folks coming in, getting access to our Deep Learning Institute courses for free, kind of learning how to leverage our software, learning how to leverage our GPUs. We've discounted instructor-led DLI workshops. We have access to webinars. Right now, actually, GTC is going on, where Jensen, our CEO, just gave a keynote to a Taylor Swift-sized stadium of people, which is available online for you to view, and I would highly encourage you to do so if you have interest in our technology. And then we also have Inception events and Ask Me Anythings that we set up. Just going to get you started on the NVIDIA platform, start understanding our tech and start leveraging it. And then as you actually go to adopt and build We have over 150 SDKs. Most of them are open source. Vast majority are free that allow you to optimize your AI workloads for the GPU, get the best practices in AI. We have a ton of free cloud credits for you, with AWS as a partner and other hyperscalers, regional clouds coming on as well. We have discounts on hardware and software. So if you want to buy your own GPU and run it in your own server or on-prem or what have you, we have pretty substantial discounts for members. And then access to technical support, as well as Launchpad, which is a testing environment where you can try out a bunch of different views and try out different SDKs before you actually go ahead and purchase. And then kind of as you adopt our tech stack and you go to market, that's where we have kind of like the interesting grow opportunities, right? So everyone who joins gets digital badges, you get a PR template and social templates, so we can amplify that you're working with NVIDIA on our social channels. We have a VC alliance where if you're trying to raise money, we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of VCs that are signed up. So you upload your deck, kind of some details about when and how much you're trying to raise, and we can kind of expose you to funding opportunities within that ecosystem. And so, yeah, it's a little bit about some of those benefits. The Deep Learning Institute's fantastic. It's tons and tons of courses that kind of walk you through hands-on how to actually, adopt our SDKs and how to get them into production. And then if you kind of want a taste of that, you can also go ahead and just kind of go through some of the sessions in GTC. Obviously, it's in person this year for the first time since 2019, but all of the sessions are also recorded and put up online. So you can just kind of take a peek at them there. We have our AWS partnership for free cloud credits, our preferred pricing, and the developer tools and SDKs that we have available. So, and then once you move into the growth phase, the brand awareness, the VC opportunities, all fantastic stuff for startups. And the way it works is you can just go online and become a member. You can type in NVIDIA Inception. It takes all of 30 minutes to complete the form. You have to have your funding information, the technology you're leveraging. And we have a whole team of folks that process applications. It's totally free. Like this is not like an accelerator type program. We have to show up to meetings or what have you. This is, our benefits program, our developer ecosystem program to kind of, make sure that you have access to these benefits as startups. And this is really also the pool we take from when we look at like ISV, like business development opportunities or marketing opportunities or folks that we're going to put on our keynote or promote. We're looking at Inception partners to find kind of marketing and storytelling opportunities within the company. So if you want access to those types of opportunities, Inception is the place to start. So I'll go ahead and pause there for questions.
Great. Well, let's see if we have any questions. Don't think so, but I have a question.
Go ahead.
Okay, so what I like about the NVIDIA Inception program is that it's like everything is it's possible to supersize or superpower whatever you're doing. And so, for example, let's use the example of Brent and his using seawater and like say using it to develop the shale wells in Saudi, kind of using the model that they were kind of using the same hydraulic fracturing techniques that they've used in the Eagle Ford for learning from that. How can NVIDIA help kind of create workflows and evaluate and kind of translate to a different location?
Yeah, so our technology is super versatile, right? Like we're working in everything from biotech and helping folks solve cancer and all the way to, very boutique e-commerce problems, right? And in the geophysics space, we have some really interesting tool sets that we've made available, right? So you can think of things like PhysX for physics modeling or Modulus for solving partial differential equations and computational fluid dynamics. dynamics. We have tools that are available in the sequestration space. If you're looking at carbon sinks, wanting to do capacity modeling and how like leakage over time and expansion of carbon, we can help with those types of really interesting digital twinning solutions, as well as kind of just your traditional like well log oriented and seismic data processing solutions. So we're exposing tools to the marketplace, and the way that we look at ourselves is we're really just exposing a lot of tools that then startups and developers are building on, right? So these aren't really finished products, so to speak, from like a go-to-market perspective. The way we go to market is we partner with ISVs and startups. They build on our platform. Our platform is ran by GPUs, and then as they grow, we grow. So it's a super helpful way that we can kind of help a ton of different industries and a ton of different use cases.
Oh, okay. So for example, in the case of like the Eagle Ford in Texas, let's say that then I can use NVIDIA to help quickly develop a model, almost
Yep.
like a digital twin, a model. And then I could actually use, then I could say, okay, compare it to the conditions there, or say what would it take to modify it to work someplace else. And then if we're talking
Exactly.
transportation, I could also bring in ArcGIS or any other GIS program too, right? To help make decisions
Yeah,
suitability.
and on the digital twin front, we have a program called Omniverse, where if you were to go take high fidelity meshes or pictures of the area, you could pull it into a digital twinning solutions. You could actually and then we have physics engines inside of it, so you could do some of the modeling before you even built, right? So it helps with the planning side of things, it helps with the modeling side of things, and if you change different weights and variables, you can kind of see what the outcome of that would be in the digital world,
Oh,
and then
wow.
that helps you quite a bit for saving costs on deployment, for especially in like very complicated upstream projects.
That's amazing. So that could work with geothermal. It could work with, I love it. And like you said, CCUS and carbon sinks, etc. Great. Well, any questions from the audience? And we like to ask if anyone has any questions for Zach. And then we can also move to questions for our other presenters. And feel free to open up your microphone and jump in there and ask a question in real time.
Yeah, I think I saw one just come in through the chat. As it pertains to carbon sinks and sequestration, so a lot of the material in modeling space rather than deterministic space based on nearby data sources. So yeah, on the carbon sink and sequestration side, it's fairly manual to build those models, because you're going to need to pull in lots of localized data streams in order to build them. So it's not just something where you can plug and play, and here's a Schlumberger terminal of modeling your sequestration carbon sinks, but we give you some of the framework that you can build that, and once you do have your own models within our framework, then you can kind of scale it out to lots of different things.
Cool. Here's another one. So Eric Peterson, does NVIDIA have any videos or case study links that can share demos of product use in AI ML space, in oil and gas and sustainability spaces?
Absolutely. I mean, we have tons. We have a oil and gas and energy webpage on NVIDIA's webpage that has use cases there. We have our GTC, which has all of our live keynotes, demos, conversations that's happening this week. So it's all new, refreshed. You can just type in oil and gas, petroleum, subsurface, whatever your specific interest in. You'll have sessions that pop right on up that you can watch from home. And then we are also always releasing blogs and new use cases. So our NVIDIA blog is quite substantial and has new use cases that come up daily, both on the technical and on the corporate blog. So if you're looking kind of specifically to kind of get into the nitty gritty of one of our SDKs, how it's leveraged with a certain customer or a certain use case, that'll be on the technical blog. And if you want to kind of have a broader use case conversation, that's around on our corporate blog.
Oh, that's exciting. So I just want to let everybody know, just that we will have a new technology showcase in Houston in June, third week of June, and also the end of August, the best time to be in Houston. Not really, but anyway, well, if you like to suffer, but anyway, we'll have our joint event. SEG and APG will be in the beautifully air-conditioned George R. Brown Convention Center. And we will have a new technology showcase there. And I'm hoping that we'll have NVIDIA there to talk about their program and maybe even discuss some examples and use cases, which would be really exciting. Also, I just want to let everybody know that that's available. We are getting ready to open it up for to populate and develop the schedule. So be sure to get in touch. And anyway, any questions from the audience? So I have another question for Craig. So if Craig is still around, I see he is. You can open up his mic. And anyway, my question for Craig is that how close are you to being able to do like scale up and do a lot of wells? Craig, you're muted.
There it is.
There
There
we
we
go.
go. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, we're prepared to go to scale. UVT is not set up to be a plugging company. What we're set up to do is to demo with our trucking system, and what we're doing is going out to other entities that are scalable. We can produce right now up to 1,000 seals a day. So we're going to go to other companies, teach them how to set seals, and let them do it. This system has been approved by the BIA in the Osage Nation. We're legal in Colorado. And there's certain states this is legal in. We're not legal yet in Oklahoma. It's been classified as a bridge plug in Oklahoma.
So you still have to
But we're
submit.
going through the steps now to try to get it to where it will be an alternative way of plugging. We're not saying don't plug the way you're plugging. We're saying you've got an option here.
Okay, great. That's good. Oh, in the meantime, a question came in for Zach. So John Dull asks and says, computing power is what drives iterative solutions. So how does NVIDIA offer something differentiating for the HPC needs of the energy space versus just a bigger hammer?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So first of all, a link here in the chat about how we're using AI and HPC in the energy space. On the HPC side, I'm not entirely an expert. I mostly focus on AI, but what I can tell you is that one of the things that we are able to do on the HPC side is one, offer kind of a really strong energy optimization and cost optimization for the compute that you do get, right? So if you're looking at the market, like we have, some of the best GPUs out there for doing HPC, and especially kind of versus traditional CPUs, right? So you're getting a lot more for your money just from a pure economics perspective, and then using quite a bit less power as well. So that's kind of how we look at just compute as a commodity. but we're also always optimizing from a software perspective, right? So we have CUDA, we have, RTX, we have, different types of software frameworks that help you access the GPU and build software for the GPU, that is really helpful and has been kind of very, very popular. And then finally, we're able to apply AI to a lot of use cases that can also optimize these things, right? So if you're doing HPC workloads, but you're using kind of our layer of AI on those HPC workloads, it kind of changes the game for what you actually need processing or what have you. So those are some of the things that you can kind of touch on for how we're differentiated in the HPC space. But I would say that to take a look at the link, some of the videos, some of the use cases that we published, and you'll have a bit more of a whole story there.
Oh, great. Well, that's super exciting and incredibly useful. So really appreciate it. And I just like to invite people who have continuing questions or would like to follow up, please to reach out to our presenters directly, or if you would like to reach out to me and I can help you put you in touch. But we will be sending out recordings, and in the show notes, I'll put contact information. So thank you, everyone. Just really appreciate it. Very inspiring.
Thanks so
Thank
much
you.
for having me.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Susan.
Thanks.